A big hello to all the football lovers and my amazing listeners, and welcome to another episode of Gaffer's Advisor, your favorite football podcast. This is your host Siddharth Kathuria, and as always, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe or follow button on YouTube, Spotify, or Google Podcasts. I'm coming to you right after the first of many midweek fixtures this season, thanks to the upcoming FIFA World Cup in Qatar this year. And we are officially at a stage in the Premier League where the phrase last 5 matches can be used in full effect. Arsenal is maintaining its hold at the top of the league standings so far with 5 wins in 5 matches. Erling Haaland is lighting up the Premier League with back-to-back hat-tricks for the defending champions Manchester City. But I would like to begin the episode with the latest side to join the 9-goal club, Liverpool. After beginning the season with 2 draws and 1 narrow but crushing defeat to rivals Manchester United, Liverpool bounced back against Bournemouth in Gameweek 4. Playing at Anfield, the Reds seemed hell-bent on shedding the frustration of their previous matches. They opened the scoring inside the first 5 minutes and went on to annihilate Bournemouth 9-0. 6 different players got on the score sheet for Liverpool, with Luis Diaz and Bobby Firmino bagging a brace each. Liverpool's and Egypt's pride Mo Salah, however, could not make the sheet in this goal fest, but there is always the next time. The hosts dominated the match and did not stop scoring up until 5 minutes remaining in the regulation 90, resulting in a full-time whistle that brought hardly any mercy for Bournemouth fans or players. After Bournemouth's trip, it was Newcastle's turn to visit the Merseyside to take on Liverpool in Gameweek 5. The hosts did dominate the ball yet again, but could not make anywhere near the same impact with it as they did against the Cherries. Klopp's men may have beaten the Magpies 2-1, but they did it barely by the skin of their teeth. After Newcastle opened the scoring in the first half, Liverpool looked like settling for just 1 point after Bobby Firmino had equalised in the second half. In the end, it was the substitute Fabio Carvalho who scored the winner for the home side with virtually the last kick of the match, converting the solitary 1 point of a draw into 3 points of a win. For their next match, Liverpool will be the away side in a Merseyside derby against Everton at the Goodison Park. Everton is one of the only 3 sides in the Premier League remaining without a single victory so far, and beating local rivals at home in a derby would be a fitting way to get that first victory. In a bit of a good news for Liverpool fans, Joel Matip featured on the bench for the home side in their close win over Newcastle. Darwin Núñez is also available for selection against the Toffees after having served his ban following his red card against Palace. On the other hand, club captain Jordan Henderson may have a slight hamstring issue to add his name to the list of possible absentees. Other big names like Thiago and Diogo Jota may feature on the bench if at all they are deemed fit enough to feature in the lineup. It was also interesting to see Liverpool going in only for a loan transfer in the form of Arthur Melo from Juventus before the transfer window closed. Even though Everton are yet to win their first match of the season, Jurgen Klopp will do well not to underestimate the local rivals to possibly look ahead to their trip to Italy, where the Reds take on Napoli in their opening group stage encounter in the UEFA Champions League. From Liverpool, we shift our attention to North London, and more specifically to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. The London-based outfit had travelled to Nottingham to take on Forest in the hopes of seeing some recovery to their form in Gameweek 4. They may have left City grounds with all 3 points and a 2-0 scoreline, but this was a very hard-fought victory for Spurs. Harry Kane scored both the goals for the visitors, but the home club really annoyed Antonio Conte and his side by not allowing them to see much of the ball and almost equaled the total shots taken by Spurs. For their next match, Spurs returned to London only to play at the London Stadium away to West Ham United. The home side had been struggling to hit any sort of form and had just recorded their first win before hosting Spurs. The only positive thing for the visitors in the match came in the form of ball possession, as West Ham United beat out Tottenham in the departments of shots taken, on-target attempts, and even in the case of players making the score sheet. The match that ended in a 1-1 draw saw Souček equalize for West Ham United in the second half after Kehrer had put one in the back of his own net. Tottenham were unlucky when a penalty call was overturned by the VAR, but were definitely lucky to leave the London stadium with a point. Another thing worth noting is that out of the last 5 goals that Spurs have scored, Harry Kane has scored 4 and the 5th was an own goal. This is coming from a side that also has Heung-min Son, Dejan Kulusevski and Richarlison to play alongside Harry Kane. Out of the 5 matches played, Spurs have seen 2 of them ending in draws, and both of them have come against London-based clubs in West Ham and Chelsea. Spurs take on Fulham next in Gameweek 6, another London-based outfit. The only difference is that this fixture takes place at the Tottenham Stadium and Spurs play with a home field advantage. New signing Richarlison is yet to make his full start for Spurs, as he has only played off the bench so far. It will be interesting to see if the marquee signing for Spurs this season gets a full start against Fulham. Among other players with the potential of coming back in the squad, the duo of QT Romero and Bentancur might make the bench this coming match day. The transfer window has also shut down and Tottenham remained one of the handful clubs to not conduct any deadline day business. Antonio Conte could use the Fulham fixture as a test by fire for the upcoming UCL group stage match against Marseille at home. Although Fulham has surprised a few so far this season, Antonio Conte and his side should be wary of what this alleged small club can do, especially while they are searching for some good form and momentum themselves before hosting Marseille. After recent game weeks, it would be highly unfair if we talk about Tottenham and do not immediately follow it up with Chelsea FC. The Blues entered Game Week 4 desperate for a win after back-to-back weekends filled with nothing but drama. Hosting an out-of-form Leicester at the Stamford Bridge and still playing without manager Thomas Tuchel at the touchline, Chelsea would be thanking their lucky stars to escape with all 3 points. Chelsea suffered another red card incident as Conor Gallagher getting sent off reduced the hosts to 10 men inside the first half itself. Leicester City tried with all their might to turn their fortunes around and dominated the entire match except the scoreline. A brace by Raheem Sterling to open his Chelsea account was enough to give the hosts a win by 2-1, even as Harvey Barnes tried to get his side back in the contest by getting a consolation goal. Despite an unsteady performance, the Blues travelled to Southampton on the back of a home win to further strengthen the ship with another victory. Another Raheem Sterling goal opened the scoring for the visitors and all seemed to be going according to the plan. Southampton's response was almost immediate as 2 goals inside the first half were enough for Chelsea to drop all 3 points on the road as they went down 1-2. Lavia and Adam Armstrong found themselves on the score sheet for the hosts, and Chelsea will come back home to Stamford Bridge for the next fixture in a London derby. Hosting West Ham United, the match comes at a crucial juncture for Chelsea as they find themselves struggling for a consistent run of form. Their opponents this coming weekend have their own trouble with form as of late, and the encounter should make for an interesting one. Chelsea have a great opportunity to brush out the cobwebs and really build some momentum given their deadline day acquisition in the form of Fofana. Reece James may also return to provide manager Thomas Tuchel with an extra option. However, another of their deadline day signing, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, will remain sidelined alongside N'Golo Kanté and Loftus-Cheek due to injury. After hosting West Ham at the Stamford Bridge, Chelsea's opening Champions League fixture looms ahead in the coming week when Thomas Tuchel will take his side to visit Croatia and take on Dinamo Zagreb in their first group stage match. Since we have discussed 3 Premier League clubs playing the Champions League this season, it is only befitting if we talk about the 4th, Manchester City. After rescuing a solitary point at St. James's Park and losing their 100% win rate, the citizens hosted Crystal Palace at the Etihad with the hope of course correction. The hosts, thanks to an early John Stones own goal and a super header by Anderson, were left trailing by a couple of goals at the end of the first half. It took a Bernardo Silva goal and a first hat-trick for Manchester City by Erling Haaland to complete the 4-2 comeback win against the Eagles at home. After Palace's visit, the defending champions were set to host the newly promoted Nottingham Forest side at the Etihad. City manager Pep Guardiola must have definitely had a talk or more with his side after the draw at Newcastle and after Palace had caught them off guard. The momentum that started the recovery against Palace seemed to continue for Erling Haaland as he struck a first half hat-trick to put the hosts 3-0 up by the end of the first half. A goal for Cancelo and a brace for Alvarez in the second half saw the citizens marching towards a thumping 6-0 win. Erling Haaland also became the player to have scored the most goals in his first 5 Premier League appearances with 9 goals including back-to-back hat-tricks. After totally outplaying and outclassing Nottingham Forest, the Guardiola juggernaut will travel to Aston Villa for their next fixture come Game Week 6. The hosts Aston Villa will be entering the match on the back of 3 consecutive losses, sitting at the 19th spot. City manager Pep Guardiola can use this fixture to rotate a few players and try some new tactics that might work as the season progresses, especially with the transfer window just concluding and City getting another signing in the form of Manuel Akanji from Dortmund to join his former teammate Haaland. To boost the idea of player rotation further, key players like Jack Grealish and Nathan Ake may return to the action against Villa after being sidelined by injury. The boss will do well to be mindful of the fatigue the players suffer from, especially considering the long trips on the road, much like the upcoming visit to Spain to take on Sevilla in their first group stage encounter in the UEFA Champions League. From one club of Manchester to the other as we shift our focus to Manchester United. After suffering a nightmarish start to their campaign, things seemed like picking up against their arch-rivals Liverpool. Continuing on this success, the Red Devils travelled to Southampton to take on the Saints at the St. Mary's Stadium. Now Ten Hag and men were visiting Southampton under immense amount of pressure after having lost 7 consecutive fixtures on the road before this, their worst such losing run since 1936. The match ended in the favour of Erik Ten Hag and his side as they beat the home club by 1-0 with United captain Bruno Fernandes getting on the score sheet in the second half. The result may have earned United all 3 points, but the win was more of a scrappy effort than a convincing victory for the Reds of Manchester. Continuing their travels on the road, Erik Ten Hag took his squad to the King Power Stadium to take on the Foxes in the next game week. Manchester United entered the match with 2 back-to-back victories and some good amount of momentum behind them, while Leicester was still searching for their first win of the season. Leicester City ended up seeing more of the ball than the visitors and even had more shots in total, but the composure and the calm displayed by Ten Hag's side made all the difference. The difference in the attitude of the United players was evident even when they lost the ball. The smooth build-up in the first half that ended with a Jadon Sancho goal was enough to separate the two sides, and Manchester United left the King Power with all the 3 points. A clean sheet for De Gea and a satisfying performance overall for Ten Hag made it 3 wins out of the 5 matches for the Red Devils. In their next match, playing at the Old Trafford, Manchester United will host the current league leaders Arsenal in an attempt to halt their winning run. Completing the transfer of Martin Dubravka on loan on deadline day and signing Antony from Ajax towards the end of the transfer window helped boost the squad for Erik Ten Hag, and it will be interesting to see if Antony gets his debut against Arsenal at home. French striker Anthony Martial can also return to the squad against the Gunners, but it still remains a mere speculation. The fixture's importance for both United and Arsenal cannot be stressed enough, and it will be crucial in setting the tone for at least upcoming few weeks, not to mention United's Europa League opener against Real Sociedad at the Old Trafford next week. And in the end, the table toppers, the league leaders with 5 wins in 5 matches, Arsenal Football Club. The Gunners fans had some confidence before the season began, but nobody could have expected this kind of a run by them. The win margin may have declined in their last 2 matches, but the 3 incoming points is something that hasn't changed. Arteta and his side welcomed Fulham at the Emirates in Gameweek 4, and the home side went a goal down for the first time this season when Mitrovic put the visitors ahead. The response was almost immediate from the Gunners as Martin Odegaard equalised soon after, before centre-back Gabriel Magalhaes scored the winner to make the final scoreline read 2-1 and to keep Arsenal's winning run intact. The match week after the win over Fulham brought Aston Villa to the Emirates for the Gunners to face. The result was another one-sided dominant performance and another 2-1 scoreline to hand over the win to the home side over the visiting Aston Villa. Gabriel Jesus and Gabriel Martinelli got on the score sheet for the home side, while Douglas Luiz managed a consolation goal for Aston Villa in a spectacular fashion, scoring directly from the corner. Riding the biggest wave of momentum that can be possible, Arsenal travel to Manchester to Old Trafford for their next fixture when they take on Manchester United. Now the Gunners have 5 wins in 5 matches, while their next opponents have 3 back-to-back wins, and the encounter promises to be a spicy one. The thing that works for the visitors is their momentum and the confidence levels the players have. However, Arsenal are yet to face a quality opposition this season, and the next fixture might turn out to be the reality check that Arsenal fans may be dreading. Among the injury concerns, Thomas Partey, Elneny and Nelson continue to remain ruled out, while Zinchenko may make a return. In other concerning news, key players like Odegaard and Ramsdale picked up knocks during their match against Aston Villa and are not 100% cleared to feature against Manchester United. With no more new signings coming in for Arsenal towards the business end of the transfer window, the shape of the squad will become more solid for Mikel Arteta and a more clear first lineup will be formed. This will be crucial not only for their next match against the Red Devils, but also for their Europa League opener against FC Zurich in Switzerland next week. Game week 5 in the middle of the week has ended with Arsenal leading the table. And among some other surprises in the Premier League, we find Brighton occupying the 4th place with Leeds and Fulham at 7th and 8th respectively. Chelsea closed the top half of the table at 10th place, while Leicester continue to search for their first win and their second point this season at the 20th place. As Game Week 6 approaches at a fast pace, it brings some exciting fixtures like the Merseyside Derby, the clash between Arsenal and Manchester United, the London Derby featuring Chelsea and West Ham United, among several others. There are a lot of ways the table can change before the next match week, especially with the European fixtures to follow. For all the upcoming excitement in England and in Europe, do not forget to stay tuned to Gaffer's Advisor. Kindly follow, subscribe, like and share Gaffer's Advisor with your footballing circle and help the podcast grow. Until the next episode, this is Gaffer's Advisor and your host Siddharth Kathuria signing off.